This video is for educational purposes only.
Strikes targeting hundreds of locations, including Houthi arsenals, ballistic missile launch pads, and headquarters. The Houthis continue to attack commercial and military vessels. Due to the ongoing violence, the United States has designated the Houthis as a global terrorist organization. This step is aimed at preventing the Houthis from obtaining financial resources to support their activities. Today, U.S. ships and submarines launched a new wave of attacks on Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. On Thursday, the U.S. military directly hit the Houthi organization in Yemen for the fourth time in recent days. According to U.S. officials, the U.S. military launched a second wave of missile strikes on Houthi-controlled areas on Wednesday. The missile strikes were launched from ships and submarines. The Hamas war continues to spread across the Middle East. The strikes come after the U.S. formally announced that it had reinstated the Houthis to its list of global terrorist designations. Sanctions linked to the official classification are aimed at cutting off funding sources for violent extremist groups. The officials spoke on condition of anonymity to disclose previously unpublished material. Later on Wednesday, U.S. Central Command, CENTCOM, released a report stating that heavy airstrikes were conducted on 14 Iranian-backed Houthi missile teams that were loaded for firing into Houthi-controlled areas in Yemen. The U.S. has launched 4 waves of strikes against Houthi rebels in Yemen in the past week.
Fire and in danger of sinking tonight. The Iranian-backed Houthi militants striking a British oil tanker, setting it ablaze. A U.S. ship rushing to answer the distress call. Here's Martha Raddatz.
Tonight, a troubling escalation. Iran-backed Houthi rebels attacking a British oil tanker in the Gulf of Aden, leaving the ship ablaze and reportedly at risk of sinking. The crew abandoning the tanker. Tonight, the destroyer USS Carney and a French warship are on their way to assist the Marlin Luanda, damaged by an anti-ship ballistic missile.
Good evening. Grace and peace to everyone this evening. Tonight the program is about It Has Begun. So we're going to take a look at that tonight, and it's all about a big lie. A lie that the so-called, these Edomites told. They took the land of Israel, and these so-called Palestinians that are not Palestinians, they're Edomites, mixed up Arabs. They took those territories, right? Now the prophecies of God is coming upon them now. This is prophesied what would happen, that they would be torn in pieces, they would war against each other. This is all God's business. So now a lot of people are murmuring and talking. A lot of people don't believe God because so many people are being killed. They don't believe in God. Atheists, people are becoming atheists. They don't believe in God anymore because so many people are being killed. But let's take a look at this, right? But the first thing I want to do, right, is go into Isaiah 29 chapter and the 24th verse. I just want to read this, right? I wrote the scriptures down this evening, right? They also that err in spirit shall come to understanding. A lot of people are confused about what God is doing, but we that know what God is doing, we're not in no confusion about what's going on the planet Earth. We know, we have the Bible now. We know the beginning of times, the middle of times, what happened in the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, and the end of times. We have all that information now. Okay, now, so, let me read this again. Isaiah 49:24. They also that err in spirit shall come to understanding. See, God is saying, Israel, well, if you err in spirit, you're going to come to understanding. Okay, this is Isaiah 29 is the Israelites. Okay, you have to know when the Bible is speaking to Israel. This is speaking to Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel. And they that murmur, yeah, remember God got angry with Israel because Israel used to murmur, right? But they that murmur, but look at God. But they that murmur shall learn doctrine. See that? So God is having mercy on the people that erred in spirit. He's having mercy on the people that murmured. You see that? And then murmur, to be angry, discontent. And a lot of people of the world are like that because what's coming upon the earth, and a lot of people see what's coming upon the earth, their lives are threatened, their futures are threatened. Here now by what Esau has done and the nations have done. But what I want to share with you, this is all about Israel, okay? This is all about the destruction and the plagues and the hurricanes and the storms. Is all about Israel. The wars are all about Israel. Okay, now, so let's take a look at this, right? Let's go to Joel. We have to go to Joel because we have to see that this is God's word, okay? So we have to go into the book of Joel. Joel the third chapter and the 9th verse. Proclaim you this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. And let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords. Your pruning hooks into spears. Listen to this, right? Let the weak say, I am strong. That's what we're going to look at right here. Yemen, Hezbollah are weak nations, poor nations, and they're saying they are strong, meaning God going to sacrifice these people. I'm going to show you that. The people that are being killed in this war and destruction are being sacrificed for the sake of Israel. Now I'm going to show you that that's exactly the case. Assemble yourselves and come, all you heathens, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither, cause thy mighty ones to come down, O God. Let the heathens be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there will I set to judge all the heathens. The valley of Jehoshaphat is in the Middle East. Put you in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come you, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. And God is bringing his judgment upon them for their wickedness, which you've done to Israel. And this is what must be understood. The people in the churches, they don't understand what's going on today. But we that know God, we know exactly what's going on and why this is occurring. Multitudes, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. And also there's all kind of signs in the sun and the moon and the stars out there that's escalating this thing. This thing is escalating, and I want to show you something right quick. The spirit in the world now is anger, hatred, sedition, and those are spirits in the world. So if you're not in the fruits of the Spirit today, those spirits are going to take you. Yeah. God gave you the keys to the kingdom, the fruits of the Spirit. Exactly. Yeah, you have to put that on, okay? Because the spirits out here moving the spirits, God said, who can resist the Spirit? Who can resist the Spirit? What's prophesied to take place is going to take place. So if you in the wrong spirit out here, you're going to be caught up in the wrath, in the anger. And look at the Israelites protesting against about Hamas, protesting about Israel. You shouldn't be out there protesting. Look at the people that got killed in the military. You know, I'd like to ask you a question. What's a woman doing in the military? A military is a kill zone, straight up killers. That's what it's about. And they were over in territories that they know they could be killed. Well, they were going to school. See, the white man tricked them and tricked you, and you go for the game. When you're in the military, you're in there for Esau's purposes, and his main purposes is killing people. It's sad to see what happened to them, but it's going to happen. Israelites are going to be killed that's in the wrong place at the wrong time. Meaning this, your intuition, You have a spiritual intuition. God said, know ye not that you're the temple of God and the Spirit of God dwells in you. You have a spirit in you that warns you. No, shouldn't be over there. Don't go there. And see, were they listening? It's a sad thing. It's a sad thing for their families and for all that's involved over there. But the thing is, God is only dealing with what he's dealing with. These prophecies are coming to pass and you're not aware of it. So you're caught up in what's going on. But your spiritual discernment is supposed to show you how to move in this earth. So remember that. Now, the sun shall be darkened, the sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall not give their light. The Lord shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake before him. Now, this is prophesied, so this has to happen. Now, the next thing we want to look at right quick, right, is 2nd Ezra. 2nd Ezra, let me get that right quick. Like I said, I have the scriptures here, right? 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, and the 28th and 29th verse. We're going to start there first, right? So, I want to read this, right? For now are the plagues come upon the whole earth, and ye shall remain in them, for God shall not deliver you, because ye have sinned against him. Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east. A horrible vision and appearance thereof from the east. What's happening in the east? Okay? All this is going down in the east because of Israel. It's going down in the east because it's going down where it began at. They destroyed Jerusalem there. They took over Jerusalem. That's where it's going to go down at. So you understand. Let me read this again. Behold, a horrible vision and the appearance thereof from the east, okay, meaning the Middle East, where the nations of the dragons of the Arabs, now it's showing you where they at, these are Arabs, where the nations of the dragons of the Arabs shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that they which hear them may fear and tremble. And a lot of people are afraid now. Is this war going to escalate? We're going to look at it and see if it's going to escalate, okay? The 30th verse of 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, the 30th verse. Also the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as a wild boar. Now we want to look at the Carmanians, right? The Carmanians today is part of modern day Iran. You can look it up. You'll find out that it's when it's talking about the Carmanians, it's talking about the Arab world, the modern day, and the modern day of the Carmanians is Iran and other nations that's in there. So let's look at this, right? Let's look at this, okay? The Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as a wild boar out of the woods, and they with great power shall come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of Assyria. Assyria is in the Middle East. And then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together with great power to persecute them. These Arabs gonna be gathered together. The 32nd verse. Then these shall be troubled, and keep silent through their power, and shall flee. And for the land of Assyria shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them in their host, and their host shall be afraid and dread. Strife among their kings, like these Arab kings have strife over there, because now what's really going on around the world now, everybody's trying to see what side they're going to be on in this war. Everybody's choosing sides now, where they're going to be at in this war. Okay, China and Russia have moved one or two ships up in the Red Sea the other day. North Korea is flexing their muscles. China has sent their military down into the Philippines, and they warned America, if you step into this, we're going to deal with you. And in Taiwan, they warned America. India and Pakistan at war. There are wars going on all over the world, not just in Israel, not just in Russia, with Kuwait. There's wars going on everywhere, man. Okay, now let's look at this, right? Because this is coming down on the people. Now, the 34th verse. Behold, clouds from the east and from the north, and from the south, and they are very horrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. Okay, they shall smite down one another. They shall smite down a great number of their own stars. Their own stars mean their own people upon the earth, even their own stars, and blood shall flow from the sword unto the belly. See that? Blood gonna be high, man. There's gonna be a lot of killing going on, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth. This is the part that the people are afraid of now. The world is gonna come to fear, man. It's gonna come to that. It's gonna come to great trembling. But we're not to be afraid, and I'm gonna show you why we're not to be afraid. Okay? Because God is monitoring everything that's going on. Like I told you before, everything is under control. Okay, so it's just that the people are not familiar with the Bible, and they're not familiar with the prophecies, and they don't understand what's actually going on. But okay, now so let's finish this, right? The 37th verse. This is 2 Ezra 15:37. And there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon the earth, and they that see this wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. And they that see this, the people are looking at this. Let me tell you something, right? The American people are afraid. The immigration situation, like I told you in my last program, is out of control. These people are going into houses, going onto this man's land, going into the cities, robbing, stealing, going from door to door asking for food in this country. And you ask, well, the United States has a military, why can't they control it? Well, the Vatican. Hey, listen, look at this, right? I'm going to show you something. The Vatican in the United Nations are giving the immigrants debit cards from the United Nations and telling them to go to America. New York City is talking about giving debit cards to immigrants. And they asked him, well, you treat the immigrants better than the blacks in this country. That's right. You see that? Now, just think if it took care of you like that, right? So this is a big case, like I told you before, right? When the Pope spoke down in the well of the United Nations, there are organizations that he's involved with, and that's why I showed you the Cardinal of New York City in the last video. They say they got to do this. They must do this, okay? So there are organizations in the Vatican to help these immigrants, but it's diabolical what they're doing, because there's a cabal that's out to destroy America, and they work in their program, and Trump and the Trumpers and the megas are fighting against it, because the so-called evangelical Christians, they read the Bible and they see certain things in the Bible that they're trying to fight against. But to do righteousness in the Bible, they don't see that. Yeah, so that's what's going on. And on the Texas border, Biden was threatening them to send federal troops down there, and the governor down there said that he's going to call out the National Guard. And so these people in a lot of these states want to separate from America, right, and establish their own laws for white men. Okay, that when they say they want to separate from America, I mean white men want to rule this country. Okay, white men want to rule their own destiny. But Esau, we're reading about your destiny now. This is your destiny. This is what's coming up on you now. Let's read this, right? The 39th verse. And strong wind shall rise from the east and shall open it, and the clouds which is raised up in wrath, and the star stirred to cause fear toward the east and west wind shall be destroyed. Yeah, some of them going to be destroyed over there. And the great cloud, and the great and mighty cloud, you know what this is, right? And the great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star, that they may make the whole earth afraid. That is the so-called white man, because they got the weapons to make the whole earth afraid. And you talk about nuclear weapons now. That's what the earth is really afraid of, those weapons, okay? And they're the strongest, they're the mightiest, they're the ones that got them. America got those, British got those, Russia got those, China's got those. So that's why it says here that they're the mightiest in the armaments, okay? Let's read on, okay? 2 Ezra 15:40. For the great and mighty cloud shall be lifted up full of wrath, and the star that may make all the earth to fear. All the earth is coming into fear. You can't, you have to get your mind and your spirit right now, because the whole world is going to come to fear upon this earth. When God prophesies it's going to come to fear, you better believe it's going to come to fear. Okay? But I'm going to show you now, we that know the Lord and we that are in the fruits of the Spirit, you don't have to fear. But if you're not in the fruits of the Spirit, this is the issue right here. So you understand. But God knows that, look, God said, tell Israel I have redeemed them in the Old Testament. The nations of Israel is going to be redeemed. Whether they know God, whether they don't know God, God said, tell Ephraim I redeemed them. Where the Ephraimites that know God? A lot of those tribes don't know anything about God. The Indians on the reservation, they don't know anything. They don't understand this doctrine. But God is going to save them, because tell Israel I redeemed them, because God has already redeemed them. So you got these characters that are walking around judging and condemning people. They're going to be condemned, okay, for not understanding God's mercy and God's love for his people. See, like David, God said David was not defective. Though David sinned, David was brought forth to show God's mercy. That's why he was called a beloved. His trial, his sins, and all that was to show the depth of God's mercy. David said, if I make my bed in hell, God is there. So, and then in Isaiah 55:3, God told Israel, I will give you the sure mercies of David. If you come unto me, I will give you the sure mercies of David. You see that? So And David was to write the Psalm, the book of the Psalm. So David he was anointed king, but he didn't know what he was going to suffer to play that part. Okay, and then he really learned, okay, about God. He really learned about mercy. He really learned about love. You see that? And so, see, Ahithophel tried to condemn him, right? And Ahithophel was a wise man. Ahithophel, David was not one of these Christian type characters. David was a man. David lived like as men live, as a man. You know what I'm saying? He lived the life like that. Ahithophel was a righteous man, a wise man, and God sacrificed Ahithophel for messing with David, for sending a counsel against David. You see, and David was a sinner, an admitted sinner. But you don't mess with God's anointed man. Yeah, the world gonna find out about that. Okay, now, but David was sent to show the mercy and righteousness of God to all mankind. That's what the Psalms are about. David's in the Psalms. The books were written. A lot of those books, he wrote those books, okay, for man to understand the nature of God. And he was a prophet. David was a prince, he was a prophet, and he also functioned in the priest office also. You see that? Okay, now, so let's get back to this, right? Because I want to show a few things here, right? People want to know how is this going to turn out. Okay. Just let me read 2 Ezra 15 and 15, right? I'll start at the 14th verse. 2 Ezra 14 and 15 and 16. Listen to this. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. God is talking to the whole world here, okay? For the sword and destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up to fight against another, sword in hand. There shall be seditions among men, meaning men invading men. For the sword and destruction draweth nigh. One people shall stand up to fight against another, and sword in hand. For there shall be seditions among men, invading one another, and they shall not regard their kings nor their prince, and the course of their actions shall stand in their own power. I mean, what kind of weapons they got? They're going to use them. Okay, so let me see what else I want to show you about this, right? So this is a prophecy now. It has begun. We're in it, and now we're going to see how is this thing going to unfold, and where is it going to escalate? Okay, so that's what we want to look at, right? 2 Ezra 15 and 20 and 21, right? I just want to read that. Behold, saith the Lord, I will call together all the kings of the earth to reverence me. Sure, this is a future prophecy. Which are from the rising of the sun, and from the south, and from the east, and Lebanon, to turn themselves to fight against one another, and to repay the things that they have done. See that God is turning the spirit. Who can resist the spirit of God? This is spiritual. The spiritual atmosphere out here is about the spirit of God turning man against man. That's why I say the best place to be is being the fruits of the spirit. Like I say about David, David loved God. David loved what God was doing. He obeyed God in what God was doing. If God said it, David believed it. If God killed somebody, David did not murmur. David was with God in all that God did. Okay, and so that's what God is warning us about. We have to be with God in all that He's doing, because He's doing it for our sake, our salvation. And God, let's say the earth is 6,000 to 7,000 years old. 1,000 years with God is as one day. So in eternity, what is 6,000 years? The man is hyped up and hyped up, but what is 6,000 years in eternity? Or 7,000 years in eternity? Just for argument's sake, I'm using that number just for argument's sake, you know what I'm saying? So you see, we have to be patient now. Now you got to be patient. I know it's hard, man. But we got to be patient now, right? So now let's look at this, right? Behold, saith God, I will call together all the kingdoms of the earth to reverence me, which are from the rising of the sun, and from the south, and from Lebanon, and to turn them against each other, and repay what they have done. Now, why is God turning them against each other, right? Like as I do this day to my chosen, because of what they did to Israel. What they did to you, Israel, that's what this is all about. So that people look at the people in the churches with all that churches and got big congregations and nobody knows the truth in the churches. See that? God ain't, he's not going to deal with that. He gonna save a lot of you out of there, but he's not dealing with your big congregations and your big events, and he's not dealing with that, man. Your ministers, he gonna talk to your ministers though. Because they led you, man, into a dark alley, man, in this delusion of America, and delusion of Christmas and holidays, and let's join the army, let's get with America. If you get with the white man, you better be very aware, man. It's a dangerous place to be these days. A dangerous place to be is in the military, and rooting for this country. I'll say this. It's a dangerous thing to be a Democrat if you're an Israelite, and it's a dangerous thing to be a Republican if you're Israelite, because God is not dealing with that. The Democrats in Esau's world are mocked. Those are mocked men. Those are mocked men, Republicans. They mock, man. Yeah, so let me read on. Like as I do this day unto my chosen, so will I do also, and recompense in your bosom, thus saith the Lord God. So see, this is all about Israel. I want to read 2 Ezra 9:3, right? This scripture here, I wrote it down. It came out of an older Bible. I have the older Bible. These newer Bibles, the words are a little different. So let's read this. 2 Ezra 9:3, right? So when there shall appear in the world earthquakes, tumults of people. The people are in tumult, man. Intrigue of nations, wavering of leaders. The leaders are wavering, man. The leaders are wavering. Confusion among princes. The princes are confused. The people of the world and the nations are confused. The Edomites are confused. Because they didn't expect this to happen. They don't believe it's going to happen. They're fighting against the word of God. They don't believe it, but it's coming to pass on them, okay? Sedition, insurrection. We see that in America, insurrection. It's happening in all the major nations of the world, okay? These events are not only going on in America, they're going on all over the world, okay? Insurrection, rioting, insurgent, civil disorder, defiance, discontent. The people in America are at each other's throats. They're discontent. The farmers in France, you see that? Discontent. All over the world, discontent. Africa, discontent. Okay? So now, but I want to say this right quick, right? In the scriptures, the Lord said that Israel would be in the neck of their enemies, in the neck, and it mentioned about Esau. So why I'm saying that, why would you want to go to Africa, and God set up this captivity here for you, here in America? So you got to think about that, man, really. Okay, now, we have to go to Isaiah. So fearfulness is coming upon the earth now. People are going to become afraid, right? And I'm sure you that this is going to escalate, okay? It's going to escalate. If they try to slow it down, it's still going to break out. It's going to escalate into a global conflagration, okay? Now, I just want to read a little bit more about this, because a lot of people are wondering what's happening with the Chinese and the Japanese. Are they part of this? Well, in the book of Ezra, the 15th chapter and the 46th verse, right? And thou, O Asia, thou art partakers of the hope of Babylon, art the glory of a person. Yeah, the Chinese and the Japanese, they love this country. Don't let them fool you. They learned mostly the technological edge that they have. They learned it in America, okay? Because God told you that America had the eyes, the beast kingdom. He was the guy, okay? And God said in the Bible, "Are that wiser than Daniel?" He didn't say that about Moab and Ammon, okay? But Moab and Ammon are sideline players in this action, okay? Esau is the main player in this action, okay? And the nation of Israel, that's what this is all about, okay? So now, the 46th verse, and thou, Asia, art partakers of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of a person. Woe unto thee, thou wretch, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that thou might please and glory in her lovers. Yeah. Look, they go to their schools, they go to their colleges, they come over here to this country, they go to their schools, they go to their colleges. Now, the FBI was on the heel this week, last week, on Capitol Hill, and the FBI was telling the senators on the Hill that the Chinese have a back door to their systems. They have a back door to the Pentagon. They have a back door to the red lights, the traffic lights, to the water systems, to the gas pipelines. They could shut it off in case, in the event of a war. If a war breaks out with them, they can shut us down. And so this is what I was telling you about. This is going on 24 hours a day, this hacking thing, okay? It is real. Now, the FBI, he explained it to them. He laid it out for them last week on the Hill in the Capitol of the United States. He laid it out. They have the back doors to those systems. Now they sent their children here, their kids here, to go to school and to go to their colleges, and they're passing all that information on. They have their scientists in this country, Japanese and Chinese scientists in this country with all this knowledge, man, and all this information, and they're sending it back. And now they have see, in the computer world, right, it's called the backdoor keys. They have the backdoor keys to the American system. And that's why God said they're destroyed for the lack of knowledge. There's no understanding in him. He don't even understand what he's done. Gathering unto him all people, and these people are coming back to destroy you, man. So now, I just wanted to share that with you, right? Because that's another cog in the wheel that they can take this man out with, man. And the FBI admitted that they can do it. Okay, so this man is in trouble. America's in trouble. Europe is in trouble. Esau is in trouble. Okay, now, so I want to talk about, we have to go to Isaiah, right? Isaiah 43 right quick. I have to read this one, right? Isaiah 43, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so For I am the Lord thy God, the Holy One of Israel, thy Savior. I gave Egypt for thee, and ransomed Ethiopia for thee. Since thou wast precious in my sight, thou hast been honorable, and I have loved thee. Therefore have I gave men for thee and people for thy life. Meaning God is telling you here that he sacrificed people for you. He sacrificed people to get these wars going. He's sacrificing those people in the Middle East. And the churches and the pundits, they don't understand what's happening. They talk about on the news, they don't know what's going on. God is going on, okay? God is doing what he said. He would rise up against you, and he would bring you all in to fight each other, and to hate each other, and to kill each other. It's a spirit, right? There's a spirit that God is sending into the world. And since you don't know God, those spirits are going to take you. That's why there's so much killing out here, because they don't know God. And those spirits, then you're subject to those spirits that's taking this world by storm, okay? Now, I want to talk a little bit about NATO, right? NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. NATO was started after World War II. America started NATO. Okay, let's get this straight so we can understand who's in control here. America, after World War II, started treaties with Britain, with France, with treaties, when it made treaties with these people and set up this North American Atlantic Treaty Organization. They set it up, right? And I'll tell you how it works, right? There's the European Command, okay? And America is the influence in NATO. America is the influence of NATO, okay? So you understand. The European Command, okay? The Central Command. The Central Command of NATO is the Middle East, meaning that the Central Command is handling the territories in the Middle East. And you'll hear them speak that on the news when they say Central Command. You know they're talking about the Central Command of the Middle East, okay? The Southern Command. The Southern Command is South America and the Caribbeans. They have a military, their militaries are set up to protect those territories and to police those territories. So America knew what they did. That's terrible, man. What they did, right, they set up a police department to police the world, man. And that's what they did, okay? Now, then you have the African Command. Yeah, the United States has 29 bases in Africa. So you understand. Okay, now, and their headquarters is Brussels, Belgium, okay? And there's always a European man. They don't put an American in there because they don't want people to think that America is behind this, but America is behind this. America set it up, okay? So now, so it looks like we've come to a time now where God said, be as pilgrims upon the earth, and believe God, man. You must believe God. God don't care how man feels, how woman feels. He's going to bring these judgments to pass. And it's a beautiful thing, man, to see these judgments come to pass, right? Because God going to judge this world. Israel, you've been in captivity a long time. You suffered a lot. You suffered so much under these people. Every day you walk out of your house, there's trauma, drama all over the earth, right? The scenes that you see when you walk in these cities and these places, right? It's traumatizing, okay? And God is going to bring it to an end for you. So, so remember that you're blessed of God, and God going to save a lot of you Israelites that don't know nothing about Him, because He promised that to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So I'm going to say grace and peace this evening, right? And remember, the war is going to escalate until it comes to a global congregation, to all nations are fighting each other. It was ordered, this is ordered by God. It must be done, so let it be written, so let it be done. Grace and peace.